Hello from Cairo, Egypt. I just arrived here. Hello. Hi, everyone. It has been quite an incredibly packed 10 days here in Egypt. We're about to get ready to go to the Great Pyramid tonight. And but before doing that, I wanted to just make a big announcement, I guess, and hopefully we've got another person here that should be joining. That is James. So hopefully we'll get on here in just a moment. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, from India. Yeah, tell us where you're from. Please sign in and tell us all where you're from. So please do tell me where you're from. Please talk about Regulus and the gaze of the Sphinx. Wow, you're really on it. You know what's going on. You must be a virtual pass holder. That's definitely been a hot topic here. Great. Let's see, hi from Belgium. Boca Raton, great. Good to see you guys from Arizona. From Venezuela, North Carolina, wow. That's fabulous. Let's see here. Okay. I'm seeing request to join, but not from the person I'm expecting. Hopefully he knows. So I'll go ahead and make the big announcement because I don't have so much time, and if the other person isn't able to join, then that's okay. I was actually inviting the CEO of Gaia on to join us on this because today's a big day. Today is the day of Codex 2. Codex 2 has just been released, and you can find it on Gaia. It's also on Amazon Prime. And this is going to be an amazing thing for people. I think people are going to really like this. We really put a lot of effort into the season 2 of Codex. We have a lot of loyal fans from season 1 who've been anticipating this for quite some time. It got a bit delayed, and that's just because we wanted to put even more love into it. But I think the reason why people are going to really love it is because it is, the best way I can describe it is this has been the amalgamation of my own personal journey and a journey of discovery, and this is subtitled Metatron Revealed. And if you haven't seen the little trailer for it yet, please go watch it. I posted it yesterday on my page on Instagram, and it is this life's work, I guess, that I've put so much effort and time into this, into making this. And you know, I think the graphics in this one, the CGI and all the stuff that we ended up doing related to it is just really next level. And I think that, you know, for something like this, I think it's really intended to be speaking to your heart so that you can know exactly what I personally have experienced and what I am experiencing and how this incredible matrix of mind that we live in is so beautifully interconnected in every way, shape and form, and how, you know, yesterday, as just an example, I just posted about this afternoon. I went to the 7 gates at Karnak Temple, and it was really amazing because on one very kind of secluded section of Karnak Temple, there's a place where there are 7 gates within each other. So imagine a gate within a gate within a gate within a gate. Now, that's kind of just like squishing everything down into a two-dimensional view of walking into every temple along the Nile, because every temple along the Nile has 7 gates also. And what I realized was that what is necessary for us to get through each of the chakra points, because each of these 7 gates are the gateways or portals into higher consciousness and awareness. And what I realized is that we need our egos in order to ascend through these gates and portals. The ego plays a vital role. The backdrop is duality, and we have to have this ego so that we can want to go up So it's like the ego is the thing that sort of pushes us up. It's like a balloon, I guess, like did a hot air balloon the other day. It pulls us up so that we want to differentiate, but even the concept itself of one person going to the first, second, third chakras and then basically getting these new levels of awareness, and each one related to a dimensional state also, is really a concept of separation in a way. It is a concept of separation. But when we get to the seventh gate, I realized, is the gate of no one. It's the place where we let go of all of these entanglements related to our egos, all the aspirations and dreams that we had for our life and what it might be. If I wanted to be a fireman or if I wanted to be a president. These are the things that I end up letting go of at this point in time, to realize that I'm no one. And that at the same time, simultaneously, I'm also everyone. It's as if we're living in a dream. And in the dream, I happen to just be the character that's in the first person. But all the other people that are in my dream are also there in my dream. And they're also created by the same higher consciousness. It's still, who's the creator of the other people in the dream? They're all still you. And when we think about passing through different lifetimes and different experiences, each one and everyone in it is all still you. You might identify more with the person that was in the position of the first person in your dream, but yet it is still a dream. And this wakefulness state, I think that's so powerful, and what Codex 2 is trying to teach and to demonstrate is that it is a world of perception. In this world of perception, and the first episode is about the pyramids of perception, you start to realize that this world around us is not anything of what we thought it was. And I just see We Are Gaia. If We Are Gaia comes on and joins me, that would be fabulous. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to accept. Grand Rising, everyone. Hello from Egypt. Okay, hopefully he'll be joining us here in a second. Here we go. James, hey, and Jason, how you going?
How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you guys. I'm in Cairo right now, and we're about to go to the Great Pyramid tonight. And it's been an incredible last, 10, 11 days, and we're coming to our close tonight. But it was just serendipity that we're doing it almost here on a full moon.
Yeah.
And also the exact same day that you guys chose to launch Codex 2, which I'm super excited about. And I hope you're excited about it too. I know Jason for sure is.
Yeah.
Jason's my producer. Thank you, Jason. You're such a rock star. Love you.
Yeah. Too, man. We love Jason. If you've also seen Ancient Civilizations and Channeling on Gaia, he's the star producer that's bringing these shows to the world. And yeah,
Initiation too. Initiation for my good friend Matthias.
100%. So, yeah. So it's out today. Codex Season 2, Episode 1. For those of you that are members of Gaia, you can stream it anywhere and everywhere. And excited to talk a little bit about this episode and the new season. Jason was just talking to me a little bit in our previous live where we failed to get you on, Robert, but here we are nonetheless, about the sort of mathematical principles of transformation and the new ways that we can see our reality. To me, what really struck me about episode 1 was this concept of perception. And at the core of Gaia's mission is this idea that we are, in essence, collectively contributing to this consensus reality. And it's through our perception and model of the world that we shape our reality. Why was this concept so important for you to start with Codex Season 2, Robert?
Well, I thought it was important. I do a lot of drawing, right? And I haven't done as much as I'd like to lately, to be honest. But I generally do a lot of drawing when I'm at home. And the reason I like to do that is because I like to play with two-dimensional media in order to present something that is actually hyperdimensional. So being able to use linear perspective in drawing has been one of the greatest teachers to me, because it's enabled me to be able to see that higher dimension is hidden within the lower dimension, and it's all just our perception. And that truth helped me to understand that we are actually dimensionally limited avatars of a higher self that's not dimensionally limited. So the way that we learn through this is that it would never make any sense to have a game, for example, where you and I would be playing poker with each other and you're omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent.
Mhm.
Because if that were the case, it'd be a really boring game. And just like in chess, as soon as it's clear, it becomes clear that one person is beating another person and there's really no way out of it. In 6 moves, you're checkmate, for example, they stop the game right there,
Mhm.
right? They know this. Even though there still would be steps of free will, in theory, between that point in time and the time that the game would actually get to checkmate, they just know it's impossible from that point forward, so they stop the game. That's exactly what would happen in this particular situation. So we have to have this construct of amnesia and this notion of our perception is the end all be all perception in order for us to live through this game and learn the things that we need to learn and believe that it's totally real, believe that it's absolutely critically real. And of course it is real. When you've only lived in a dream, the dream becomes real. When that's your only experience, you have no other reference point, the dream becomes real. So what I'm trying to demonstrate in the first episode is how the pyramid of our perception is exactly what our construction box is. In drawing linear geometry, you have to draw like a square, right? There's a square, and then from that you can create a three-dimensional cube, and the paper becomes a three-dimensional cube using a vanishing point. And that vanishing point will then determine which reference point you're looking at, and then everything has this illusion of higher dimension. And you can literally be inside that drawing and think that you're in a three-dimensional or a four-dimensional world.
Mhm. Yeah, it's fascinating. To me, this speaks to and draws upon not only wisdom traditions, the Vedanta, the Vedic traditions, talking about this concept of how we create our reality, and we have this soul amnesia as we incarnate into this world. We have these journeys and lessons to learn. Jason, and for those just joining here, we're talking about Codex Season 2, Episode 1, which is out today on Gaia. Jason's the producer of the show here. What was so important to you about producing this series? Because I know that you put your heart into so much of the content here on Gaia, and having the opportunity to work with Robert again. What was so important to you about this series, and is there anything you want to ask Robert about it?
Yeah, I mean, the importance when I could see everything I've done here kind of merge into one series, which is Codex. It just got me so excited to work with him. And the pyramid of perception, we were sitting in your office, and when we were talking about how we're going to unfold this season, I was like, that's it. Like that, when he said that, it just everything kind of clicked for me. And I was so fascinated with how it unfolded and how we were able to. I love the set. I love the way it all came together. And I think, Robert, I think going through this process with you, you and I have molded this together. I mean, you've now seen most of the episodes. How are you? How does this feel to be put into this package for you to be able to show the world that all these insane math equations and angles come together to really help us through the hero's journey open up to the higher version of ourselves?
Well, what you have to realize when you start to grok the notion that, okay, I'm in a construction box, as it were, of perception. And that construction box with its vanishing point becomes the apex of a pyramid,
Mm.
right? And from that, and using those exact lines, I could construct the entire world around me and create an illusion of higher dimension. And this is how a dream actually works or a simulation works. And it's all mathematical in its orientation. It's all perfectly mathematical. Mathematics is the language of consciousness. It's not that the mathematics is creating the consciousness. The consciousness, you could say, is structured through the mathematics, and it uses that as the language to basically deliver to us in our perception in a way that we can translate and understand. So for me, it was like, okay, if I'm in a pyramid of perception and the world around me is just like this, and I created an illusion that's just like a dreamscape, literally a dreamscape, where I'm the first person character in my own dreamscape. And all the other people in my dream are also me. Because who created that in my dream? Well, I guess I did, but the subconscious side of me. And the conscious side of me is this, person that I've determined is my first person character. And I'm playing a role. And everyone else is playing a role in that context, but they're all still me. And then you can start thinking about, okay, well, let's change different timelines. And different timelines could have a different dream with a different backdrop. And the big different backdrop is just the zodiac as the backdrop, which then changes the sets. It's like a set changing or clearing process. We're going through one of those set changes right now. We're at the end of Pisces going into and just have gone into Aquarius. That means we have a different set. We have a different backdrop. We have different norms. We have different frequencies. We have different things that people clue into. They like gold now versus silver or whatever it is.
Mm.
And you start to realize, well, who created this system? And that's no different than the question of when you come out of a lucid dream. Let's say you're in a dream and you realize you're in a dream, then it becomes a lucid dream. Then you realize, well, wait a minute, who created this? Well, I'm creating this. That means I can fly. And for those of you that have actually done this, might actually know what I'm referencing. I've been in a dream once, my first lucid dream. I was swimming in the ocean around Okinawa, Japan in my dream. And I realized I was in a dream. At which point I said, oh, okay, I think I'm going to try flying now. So then I lifted up out of the water and I hovered over the water in my dream. We are exactly at that point right now in the progression and expansion of conscious awareness across humanity. We are realizing we are in a lucid dream. That is the new earth. When we finally realize that we're in the lucid dream and that we are the co-creators of it and have been all along, then we start to actually comprehend the notion that, wait a minute, every single thing that happened to me was chosen by me. Every single thing that occurred was divine. And this is the process of awakening. It's a series of softenings and heart openings that turns the pain of our suffering into the gold of our soul evolution. That is literally the alchemy of changing lead of suffering into the gold of soul evolution. We don't learn, I don't remember my classes in high school or junior high that were the easy ones. I only remember the difficult ones. I remember the difficult teachers because those are the ones that teach us the most. That's the thing that becomes most relevant. Judgment is a source of suffering, but suffering becomes the source of enlightenment. And enlightenment is a process that never ends. I don't even like the term enlightenment. It's really enlightening. And everyone is in the process of enlightening, and we have to do this together. So the whole purpose of this season with Codex 2 was really to illustrate and demonstrate and make it real and concrete. So concretize this notion that you can turn your dream into a lucid dream. And you can change the world around you by realizing how you can clear and go through your chakra points. I was just talking about the seventh door. I was in Egypt, in southern Egypt at Karnak yesterday, and we visited the 7 doors or 7 gates. And then on the other wall across from it, there were the 7 keys. I realized that the ego is necessary to take us through the 1st through the 6th gateways. Absolutely necessary, because it's what propels us to go up the ladder. Right? You need to be able to create some differentiation to say, oh, I'm at the first stage, I'm at the second stage. I saw a funny meme the other day that said, oh, some guy was at the top of this mountain. He said, I'm enlightened. And he goes, now I'm better than everyone else, which is kind of funny, right? It's mocking the concept of it.
Sure.
But once we get to the 7th gate, that's when the ego has to dissipate. That's when we realize the notion, like Thoth did, of becoming no one. The moment we become no one is the moment we likewise and simultaneously become everyone. That's what this revelation or revealing of Metatron is all about. The realization that we chose it all along and that this is the divine path that's for our greatest benefit and our highest evolution.
Yeah, it's super fascinating, Robert. And to me, I feel like this time, and I know that Jason is with me in this respect, and is that there's a remembering, a reawakening to this knowledge. And of course, you guys have both been in ancient civilizations, and you're in Egypt right now. There was a knowing that was there before. There was somewhat a collective forgetting, which in the Vedic tradition they talk about this Kali Yuga, this sort of dark period, this forgetting, this disconnection from the divine, separation. And you're talking about this idea in these dreams, in these lucid states, what you're seeing is yourself reflected back, which is this oneness concept. And said furthermore that nothing is happening that is detrimental to your journey. Everything is unfolding perfectly in this way. It's such an interesting concept to grasp. And I think this lies at the core of developing a sense of purpose and connection to this life, to this journey. And
It's
super
learning to
powerful.
fall. We don't change the world around us by looking at the world and saying, I'm going to get rid of all the bad things I don't like in the world, the imperfections. The only thing that'll happen when we do that is we're going to create more of the thing we try to get rid of.
Yeah.
Because whatever we resist is the only thing that's going to happen, is going to persist. So if you take up some sort of like cross, and that's your cross to bear, where you're going to fight something like deforestation or killing the whales or whatever. Unfortunately, the only thing that will happen in this mind matrix is that you will create more deforestation by your actions in your dream. You will create more murdering of whales in your dream, not less. What you resist persists. You will continue to attract everything that you judge until you no longer judge everything you attracted. So what this world is actually about is learning to fall in love with it just as it is. So imagine you've got this love continuum, and your continuum of life is to get to absolute true self-love. And the way you do that, because your true self is not just what your concept of self is, it's like the dream self. The dream self is everyone in your dream. It's everything in your dream. It's every moment of time in your dream. And so when you think of it in that context, what happens is you say, okay, I'm not just going to love myself. I have to learn how to love others and accept them unconditionally and also and authentically. And I have to learn how to receive love from others as well. Those are the two real purposes in life, I believe. Learn how to love and how to be loved. It's just like Moulin Rouge. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. And I think that's so fundamental to this experience in life. As we get through this continuum along the way to this end goal of absolute self-love, and I don't think anyone gets perfect self-love. That's why the one divides itself into many, so they can keep experiencing falling in love with itself over and over and over again. It's so beautiful because each one of us have an perfect, absolutely perfect perspective that is necessary, that provides greater empathy, love, and wisdom to the one source creator that divided us all into this experience. And to me, it's just like the most beautiful thing that could possibly ever be conveyed. And you'll meet relationships along the way. The more you start to love yourself, the more your relationships with third parties and other people will start to reflect that love that you have for yourself. If you have antipathy towards yourself, you'll only receive a lot of antipathy in like manner from those relationships that you have. You'll continue to choose the wrong kinds of relationships over and over again and not even realize how or why. But when you finally get this notion that this is a path that my higher self has created for me, then you can learn to fall in love with the journey. And the only way that you'll ever escape this earth is by learning to fall in love with it just as it is and not ever wanting to leave it. And that's the ultimate paradox. The more
I love that.
The more you want to escape it, the more hellish it becomes.
Yes, so true.
The moment you fall in love with it just as it is, without any condition, the more heavenly it becomes.
You posted this actually, I think today, right?
I did. I did.
I think it was something along the lines of the secret to unlocking life is to fall in love with things just as they are. I'm paraphrasing.
It doesn't mean to condone bad actions, right? It doesn't mean to condone, things like, that people would all say is like, okay, killing babies, pedophilia, go down the list of things. But the problem is I chose, a few years ago, I was like, okay, I'll stop judging everything except for pedophilia, killing babies, and, forcing transgenderism on people. Whether it's happening or not or what, doesn't really matter. The problem is that my world became a dystopian nightmare of those three things. Every time I turned on a TV, it was on those topics. I couldn't believe it until I finally learned to just accept that it exists. And instead of trying to judge things, I try now to understand with empathy those things. can all understand, and we start asking the question about pedophilia. Why did it happen? Well, maybe the person was an abused, was sexually abused as a child. And so this is a generational thing. And then you can have compassion for the fact that they were abused in that way. And it's about learning to understand rather than to judge. It doesn't mean you condone it. It doesn't mean all of a sudden it makes it right. It's not. What it means is you're no longer triggered emotionally by it in the same way. And therefore, it doesn't need to continue to show up in front of you trying to teach you this principle of reintegration. These are all things that we disintegrated from ourselves and said, I am not that. I am not that. I'm not that. I'm not that. And then judged it. I'm not that thing that that guy is. Or that guy's an arrogant ass. Well, guess what? If you call out anyone and say that they're an arrogant ass, it's you're the arrogant ass. Because you're resonating at the frequency of arrogance. One who is resonating at the frequency of humility will only see humility. This is just how things are, right? So it's a practical matter. If you really want to change your world, then be the change you'd like to see in the world. That's the core message. And what I think Codex 2 tries to do in this season, and I think Jason's done a masterful job with his team at Gaia to help put this together and to crystallize this vision that we all had together, of which I'm very, very pleased and proud of. And I hope you guys will love it like we do. But I think that's really the core message. This is about a journey of self-discovery, how to love yourself. How to love yourself in your totality, you and your universe together.
Your universe.
Universe, yeah.
Jason, what do you want people to come away with from this season of Codex? Or in particular, episode 1. I mean, we're talking about love here. I know that comes up quite a bit in Metatron's Cube,
I think working with the graphics of Metatron's Cube for so long with Matthias and you and with several other things, you equate it to the QR code. And it is, you work with Metatron's Cube, whether you study it, whether you draw it, whether you learn it from you or Matthias or whoever is teaching you, it does something inside of you. It does something to unlock. It's like your first key to unlock that code where you can start to connect, I think, the heart and the brain. And our perspective of reality, when we shift, when we look out into the world and we look out into the world with compassion and we look within with love and compassion, what we do, even though it's this very, very small, we can't see the whole picture, but as long as we control what we do, which is control our perception, our focus to the love-based, heart-based mission in our life, I believe that is what this opening of Metatron's Cube and this pyramid of perception episode is all about.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
So it's all to put into a container what your show is about to people. But that's what it does for me is it really helps us understand that we can control our perspective of reality, and that we have to own our part in this whole.
Yeah, this dream analogy, it's like God dreaming, right? Or God imagining, as Walter Russell put it. I believe the entire universe is divine. I believe everyone and everything in it is divine. I believe what we call divinity is this perfectly rhythmic, balanced interchange between dark and light, between what we would consider to be the good and evil. It's actually the balance of the two. Divinity is not being only light. Divinity is not being only light. The universe is not only light. There are a lot of things that happen in the dark. Love itself could be considered to be metaphysical gravity, as Buckminster Fuller refers to it as. And I fundamentally believe that it's when we finally start to understand this and we give up this notion of, oh yes, I'm going to bring more illumination to my light things, and start to realize that the only way that we can ascend is by bringing awareness to our dark things. And then ultimately letting go of those things. Once we get to the seventh gate, the seventh chakra, crown activation, then everything shifts because you've achieved the notion of no one. And you're yet everything and everyone. So what this allows you to do is to put away all these attachments that you've had. Let go of these things. And as you let go of these things, you start to surrender into the divine will of the universe and the path that you've chosen all along. Then you start to realize that every single step you took was exactly the divine step that was necessary to be taken. I used to think that I would manifest all the things around me because I could use my force of willpower to make stuff happen. And then it took several years to realize that, wait a minute, that's what my destiny was all along. And I was like, my little son, he likes to like punch in the air and stuff, and sometimes I'll put my hand on his head and he'll like punch the air, just sort of punching away. And I kind of feel like that's the way it is with the higher self and us at times.
Yeah.
We think we're doing all this stuff, but actually it was all meant to be exactly as it was.
Love that. One of my teacher talks about this concept, and I remember it on my hand. Everything is absolutely always unfolding perfectly.
That's right. So when we start to recognize that, then we fall in love with this world and ourselves.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
And it goes back to that philosophy of no mud, no lotus, really. It's
no pressure, no
diamond. We're being pulled up. Yeah, diamonds are shaped under pressure. That's part of the game. And is it fun? You can label it whatever you want, but it is part of the game, and we have the power to shift our perspective of it. And when we shift our perspective of it, that's when the magic begins to unfold. And you show in Codex, you really show so many facets of the game and how we can shift our perspective of it. So well done. Well done.
Well, yeah, thank you.
I've still got some mystery to handle tonight, so I'm going to have to go now, guys. But such a pleasure to see you both. So grateful for all your efforts on Codex 2, and sending love to all of the people watching this right now. All the secrets are within you. It's a beautiful journey. Just stop and smell the roses and realize how beautiful it is sometimes. And recognize that all of it, every little last bit of it, was selected perfectly for your development and your evolution. And this has always been so, and it will always yet be so. And sending you all love, and looking forward to seeing you all again very soon. And watch Codex too. You can watch it now, the first episode. Is it just the first episode that's up now on Gaia, or is it
just episode?
Okay.
One a week, so check it out. And Robert, thank you once again for coming back to the channel. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
You Jason,
always great to see you both.
Incredible.
Thank you, Jason. Special thanks to you, my friend. Great job. All right.
You,
all the best. Thanks. Bye-bye.